All right, everybody. It's an hour late, but we are finally into the match. This is going to be a best of three between Meme Regime and Team Gorilla. And because of the lateness, Team Gorilla were playing another event, so they do start the series off with a one-game disadvantage. Meme Regime only have to win one to bring it home and close out the series. I'm Sindar with your English coverage, joined once again by Pythian.
Sounds good.
So, bit of a slow start, but we're finally into it. Meme Regime have had an hour to plan some unbeatable master strat, and to that end, they pull out a first pick Disruptor Darkseer. And the IO Ember Spirit immediate first two from Gorilla. That's an early Ember.
Is pretty easily countered by Disruptor, actually, and it's a very known thing for Disruptor to do well against the Ember Spirit. And also, when you pick a Darkseer alongside it as well, it makes it a lot more difficult to counter the Darkseer. So like these two heroes for Meme Regime, they kind of ensure that they're going to have like a good off lane and also a very good counter to the Ember Spirit.
Absolutely, and Ember will probably be in the mid lane with that IO, but so if you're Meme Regime, you know this is going to be mid almost certainly. What's the ideal pick for you to deal with the Ember Spirit mid, make sure he doesn't get enough and shut him down?
So you're talking about shutting down. I don't really think that the Ember Spirit is going to be too aggressive in that lane, even with the IO there. They do magic damage, but I don't think that T1E is going to have too much of a trouble with it in the mid lane. So really we're just talking about lane dominators here.
10 seconds remaining.
There's quite a few people that T1E actually can go for and
5 seconds
could do pretty well on in the mid lane.
Interesting that Meme Regime actually ban the Tinker in the 4th spot, so they actually think this is a safe lane Ember.
You can also put Tinker into the safe lane as well, so it might be a little bit weird to have that, but I definitely seen it before and could be a possibility.
Yeah, at this draft, they are just chunking through it, wanting to take advantage of the fact that Gorillas have that draft penalty, so have very little reserve time. They're going to blow through this at a crazy pace, but Gorilla, they're not waiting around. They know exactly what they want, and they pick a mid-Razor. Up against the Storm Spirit. I mean, Razor, one of those heroes who can dominate the lane with that drain from the static link, but Storm Spirit, with the ability to use his Q to farm, he doesn't care about that as much as some mids do. Who do you favor in this matchup?
Right, I definitely think that the Storm Spirit's going to be good here. Razor can get a bit of an auto-attacking advantage, and Storm Spirit is not one of the fastest heroes in the game, but like you said, he keeps that overload damage even with the drain on him. So he can be pretty comfortable in the mid lane, and Razor, when it's very early in the game, isn't that tanky. So if there's a rotation in by the Disruptor or the other support that Meme Regime would be picking up, it could be definitely the Razor in trouble.
Interesting, too, that they do pick the Razor into the Lifestealer. Of course, Razor's passive, great against some cores, but Lifestealer not one of them with that Rage Up fight and bring out all the damage. So this is going to be, it seems like a very late game oriented lineup from Gorilla, unless their Ember Spirit can absolutely dominate the lane.
I'm not too sure on that. Actually, Razor is supposed to be more of an early to mid game hero. They definitely have the pickoff potential, and Ember Spirit's really going to be asked on a lot if it gets into a late game situation. But Team Gorilla, it looks like they're a lot more early to mid game focused, and maybe even slightly after mid. But if we start getting into that late game situation, Meme Regime are going to get really scary.
So do you expect then this Ember to just be going 100% for early game items and just try and face rush heroes and bring them down early on?
I don't know necessarily if that would happen. I do like the kind of combo they have with the IO Ember Spirit, or maybe an IO Razor and a Beastmaster. So Beastmaster can just find a target with the Roar and then relocate in. I really like these kind of IO combos where you can come in onto a hero that's initiating. But I think the Ember's just going to go for a normal build, not really for a face rushing kind of thing. You might have a little bit of trouble with levels early. Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he plays it. I think it's just going to be a normal mid to late game build for him, though.
Yeah, and now Meme Regime, they're looking for their last support. Potentially, I'm thinking they probably want someone to be able to support the Storm Spirit in the mid lane. If Razor does have IO backup at all, then that becomes a little tricky for the Storm Spirit. that extra regen, the ability to spam the Razor Ring, Plasma Field. I don't cast this hero very much, can you tell? So, I mean, as far as supports that are still in the pool, the Lion, Bandout, the Ricky, and the Bounty as well. Do you consider going back for something ultra defensive like an Earthshaker?
Oh, I don't think we're going to see an Earthshaker this match. It doesn't really help you a whole lot for a high ground push if you do start going for that against Team Gorilla. I was thinking actually something more along the lines of a Lich could be interesting, but I think Meme Regime, they really need some kind of control.
The long lockdown against heroes like the Ember Spirit can be very effective if you can land it. So we'll have to see if they can pull it off. And
also don't forget that they have the Disruptor to play against the Ember Spirit, so they can glimpse him back. Hopefully that the IO isn't there with the relocate save, but they can glimpse him back, get the Static Storm on it, and that's a pretty good way to take down an Ember.
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly have tools to deal with this Ember. And to that end, Razor will be looking to be in the front of things, taking control of the fight and forcing them to focus him instead of ZPP's Ember, but we'll have to see how that goes. Is this really 3 stand-ins for Gorilla?
No, they just haven't really figured out their team information. These are the usual players for them.
Okay. I wasn't 100% sure there, but okay, good. So, guys, once again, thank you for sticking with us. Welcome into this best of 3 between Meme Regime and Team Gorilla. It's a bit of a delayed one, but we're into it now finally as we've got just waiting for a couple more reconnects. I'm Sindar, that's Pythian. And we're all into it now. And we'll go ahead and introduce the teams while we're waiting. On the side of the Meme Regime, on that safe lane farming lifestealer, we got Zingle. It'll be Ji on the Mirana. Let me know if I'm saying any of these names wrong. Kim Jong-il on the Darkseer. TIE on the Storm Spirit. And Burlog heading the support role on the Disruptor. You want to take the Radiant?
Yeah, just a quick shout out to Vlad for making that Meme Regime go. He, for some reason, made it 1921 by 1080, which really triggers me, but it is pretty interesting and very memey. Anyway, yeah, right? Here for Team Gorillas, it's going to be... by PKO.
Yeah, and just waiting on the Oracle to reconnect. So as far as lanes go, this should be... Actually, who do you think they will run mid? Is it going to be Azwraith on the Razor, or will they put CPP there?
Oh yeah, that's right. They're probably going to put Razor in the mid lane. I'm so used to seeing Ember mid. Also, if you want to talk about the Storm Spirit, we actually like to call him T1E. So
T1E.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. And we are finally... Oh, never mind. More waits. We're good. I will not just be sitting at my computer alone, staring into space all evening. We're going to have a game to cast, and hopefully it'll be a good one to make up for that delay. And a lot of potential aggression from both sides, so could be having a bit of a bloodbath here in the early stages. And
if anybody
actually really want. Of course, it's one of the hardest to get. So this roaming Mirana. I mean, this is one of those heroes that if you can land the arrows, then this hero can have an insane impact in the laning stage. But if you don't, and they don't have that heroes like the Bane, like the Disruptor for that, or for the Shadow Demon for that guaranteed connection. Do you think Ji will be able to have enough of an impact on this Mirana to secure the laning stage for his team?
With the regular arrows, I mean, Ji currently has 3 clarities and a smoke, so he's going to be looking for the good ones. But even if he doesn't get it, he'll be still getting farm and getting the levels.
Let's get moving.
And T1E should be able to secure this top rune for himself, while the bot one will go for ZPP, who is going to be heading towards the mid lane, it looks like. So they'll run this Razor safe lane, not something we'd camp near the top lane. Will secure the big centaur for himself, so trying to deny that potential farm to the Beastmaster. And now he rotates mid. So a little bit of harass onto the IO. He's gone for that bottle rush, though, has it coming out now, so he should be just fine as far as regen goes.
Yeah, and any mana problems that ZPP might be having early.
Some other earlier items that will enable him to fight a little bit more effectively. And I'm really curious. I mean, my biggest question right now is if ZPP...
Very fire as well, so he's not really too scared about this. Just a little bit of mana used by the dire side, the memers, as they like to be called.
He's getting relative free farm here. King Zhongil is moving out of the lane to stack some camps now, get some farm there. He has not gone for an Iron Talon, so I imagine he'll be looking to spend at least a little bit of time in lane, but it actually isn't that bad a lane for him. Never mind. It's an Oracle. So the Fortune's End is there to purge off the Surge, and Arrow latches
on the mid lane.
Yeah, ZPP, he's got the IO and the Oracle now, so he's going to just be fine. They may actually try and go into G here. He does. Now, of course, he does have an IO,
top.
so not as big a deal. And they will catch out Peace. Can they bring him down? It looks like they can. He tries to do some extra damage, but won't make it out. And Zingle claims the first blood. A nice catch for them, as he was up just a little bit too far with the... Actually, the Glimpse wasn't even used for that kill, so that's just Beastmaster a little bit out of place.
Tried to get something from the side shop and got hit by a nice kinetic field, and Zingle was right there. Nice aggression to be able to secure that.
Yeah.
Also, we can talk about Peter on the Darkseer, Kim Jong-il in-game. He's been doing a lot of farming on the hard camp, and you'll see pretty much every time he goes to the offlane, he's just going to sit there trying to get farm.
Yeah. And the Razor, with that range, shouldn't be harassed too much by the Iron Shells, especially with Pico spamming the Fortune's End. So it really is a tough lane for the Darkseer to get anything done. There is not a lot of kill potential, at least, but he's not going to be able to get that easy farm that we often see from Darkseers. And
providing.
Yeah. Now, speaking of T1E, he's gotten an Arcane Rune, so going to be very pleased with that. But ZPP going aggressive here. And not the rune that you want to be fighting T1E with, but he's actually...
Definitely not.
Oh, Flame Guard burned through, and now ZPP, oh, the heal just in time from Sladden. Well timed, and now they may actually get the turnaround kill. Fairy Fire pop, though. ZPP eating tower shots. Will it be enough to bring him down? Sladden getting low as well, and they've got a glimpse. Their log's got it, and this should be a kill. Nicely rotated by the Disruptor. And nicely baited by T1E.
I don't know if I would call it a bait rather than a usage of that Arcane Rune, really just knowing which resources...
Unfortunately, but does get the kill, at least. And gonna give Burlog some free XP and farm in this lane.
Clearly, T1E very used to the hero, calculated plays onto the Ember Spirit. He had basically a full level 2 Flame Guard to go for that one, and he managed to get the kill with the help of the Glimpse. Yeah. Very well played by him.
Now, Razor is the last hit leader, doing just fine. As far as a Razor versus a Lifestealer, I imagine it's the Lifestealer you worry more about getting free farm, right?
You know, a Razor has pretty good early game aggression as the fight breaks out onto the mid lane.
Oh, another go. ZPP could be in trouble, but he may clean up Burlog first. Will do so. Now the glimpse back on the Ember. Hita goes down again, and Sladden could be in trouble here. One last right-click arrow off the mark, unfortunately. And he will come back into things, just giving the tether movement speed. They may get the turnaround onto PKO anyway. Once again, a huge rotation in Meme. Taking 2 kills versus 1 in the mid lane. The Ember going down again, and the IO barely living. Huge advantage for them in this lane now.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that that Vlad decided to be a little bit too aggressive, but it's well worth it as they take down both the Oracle and the Ember and get a couple of levels on Mirana. G is just so good with these early roams.
Yeah, and the fact that he's involved in that kill, like you said, he's now almost level 5 at 6.5 minutes in as a support Mirana. That's actually how the glimpse will be ready, but the IO's arrived. It may be too late though. CPP pops the Fairy Fire. He may still go down. He will. His 3rd death of the game before 7 minutes in. This is a 4th death of the game. This is a disaster.
Of course it's a disaster. It's always a disaster. But yeah, I mean, they're just beating the Mickey out of the Ember Spirit. And I guess if there were any question which spirit is better here, clearly it is the Storm.
Well, I mean, with this level and gold advantage he's acquired, he's now level 7.5 to the Ember's 5.5. 2 level advantage at the 7-minute mark. And, I mean, I've seen ZPP play this hero before and make it look incredible, but I think that sense of aggression is really not serving his team well now, as he keeps on trying to make these plays, but now that he's fallen behind as far as gold and XP, he's not quite getting So Storm going to be able to have a huge impact on this game with this early farm. And the Ember, one of those heroes who certainly can scale very, very well, but is going to have that period of time in between his two peaks where he's really not that effective. And the fact that his early peak is basically being nerfed by how underfarmed he is now means that basically TG, they've got to start playing for late game now.
Yeah, and you say nerfed, but I might say completely disappeared as the Storm Spirit is having such a good game. Disruptor's already got the ultimate available, and Ember Spirit's not yet level 6. That is basically how big this deficit is for Team Gorilla.
Oh, jeez, I did not even notice that. Disruptor, thanks to these kills he's been a part of, and the Ember Spirit being out-leveled by your enemy support, that is disastrous. I'm going to stop saying disastrous because I feel like I'm overusing that word, but it's completely appropriate here. And
yeah, it is completely appropriate. Ember Spirit not having the game that he wants on the hero, and man, it's going to hurt his team so much. They're really counting on him to have a good start.
Yeah, even committing the dual lane mid to secure it, but that's not going to be the case. Now, if you're Team Gorilla, how do you change up your plan in order to deal with this lack of farm on the Ember? Does he play a lot more passively? Do you just try and stack camps on the IO and give him that recovery mechanism?
Hope that the Beastmaster can get to level 6, and also that your Razor gets tanky enough to be a big presence in the team fights. I mean, if you can get Meme Regime to waste a lot of their time on the Razor, maybe the Ember Spirit with the help of IO is able to get quite a bit.
Yeah. The XP discrepancy is pretty incredible already, sitting at about... Oh, as T1E goes in for more. ZPP caught out the Static Storm online so early, is just going to destroy this hero. Has no way of getting out. And a dominating spree now for your mid-Ember Spirit, or your mid-Storm Spirit rather. PKO rotates in, gets some damage off, but it's not nearly enough. And Storm Spirit with the early bottle power treads, as well as the Soul Ring. Is it going to be an early Bloodstone Rush, do you think, or does he go back for the Orchid?
The arrow actually hits at bottom.
Oh,
beautiful arrow.
Azwraith gets caught out by this double Starfall. And that will be another pick going the way of the Meme Regime. G.
We talked about landing those arrows, and G lands the beauty of one at bot.
Yeah. And Sloud and CPP, they're doing their best in mid, but with Burlog having so much already, I mean, he's got level 3 in Glimpse, and he does fall in the end, but T1E gets one. He will pay with his life. Okay, that's a pretty huge turnaround. CPP getting the mega kill streak for 626 bonus gold. That will finish off his Bracer. And finally something going the way of Team Gorilla. That was a 1,300 gold swing.
Yeah, you can almost feel the frustration at this point from the Ember Spirit, as Beastmaster is just going to get absolutely wrecked at top by Zingle.
Yeah, and Burlog taking a lot of damage now, but the TP back in will be there from the Storm. And it will be the Bloodstone. He's gone for the recipe.
Yeah, right. We can also talk a little bit about T1E. So the Ember Spirit Wiscom was played so early in the draft. It's the first 2 pickups for Team Gorilla that T1E basically had a choice of whoever he wanted to play in the mid lane against it. He knows the matchup pretty well. He's very confident on the Storm Spirit, and that just speaks of this. I mean, this great start basically just confirms that.
Yeah. And that's a really good point. The fact that he probably, his team captain probably said, okay, but on the other lanes, this Darkseer is still finding a lot. He is now 40 last hits compared to the 30 of the Ember and the 12 of the offlane Beastmaster on the Radiant. Meanwhile, Zingle finding the last hit lead at 80 compared to the Razor's 60. So all 3 lanes being won. It's not just the story of this mid here. And the dive into mid. The Static Storm is down. Slodden will be saved for now by the False Promise. But they're trying to fight around this. The Disruptor will fall, and they bring 4 heroes into the mid lane. But meanwhile, on the other side, Zingle once again gets a solo kill onto the Beastmaster. So 1 for 1 across the map. And TG, they're going to try and put some pressure onto this mid tower. And T1E, he's a bit low, so not going to want to go into this. But this is a heavy rotation from TG. Is it worth it just for the Disruptor?
Not really at all. What it's doing more is it's placing...
Kim Jong-il has the Iron Shell level 4, but we still go down here. He can't really commit to the IO, and as a result, ZPP is able to put out the damage. And ZPP, I mean, despite those early 5 deaths, he's recovered nicely now. That's his 3rd kill of the game, 2 assists, And he's finding some recovery at least. And I like the fact he's rotated off that top lane. Or the mid lane, rather.
Well, they are relocated for that kill. So he's just going to stay there and find a little bit more farm. Going back would have obviously been pretty dangerous, as we saw the Io get killed at mid. But it's not... Some people tend to underestimate it, but Zingle can be just ridiculous with his early farm, and he can really punish you for focusing on the other lanes.
Yeah, and I really do... he did take down the tower by himself. He's also... You can't really underestimate a lifestealer. At this point in the meta, we've seen the hero played effectively so often, and the fact that he's had this amazing start... I mean, once he decides to involve himself in the team fights, all of a sudden things get turned around again, and TG, who have been able to find some Moonlight Shadow popped, they're looking for a kill mid. An arrow will connect onto Azwraith. The Static Storm is down. Azwraith will fall almost immediately, but a nice false promise, a nice roar. They will still lose the Oracle, and Beastmaster falling very quickly. Will finally go down to the Infest, and Umich jumps in. He finds the Razor. Sladden will fall as well. This could be a team. Only lose 1 for 4 though, and Meme are going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that they don't get the Ember Spear, but it was a great fight. I think that Zingle possibly was a little bit too cautious when he got out of the Infest, kind of went right back towards his own base. But you know, even so, things were looking pretty good.
Relocate, it's onto bot lane. It will be King Daniel going down yet again. Now a mega kill streak for your Ember. But the turnarounds here, Zingle showed up, and the arrow will secure the kill. Now at least they get a turnaround kill, and now Zingle, he's going to look to pressure in this bottom lane.
That's a very early Echo Saber, and he's also got the Blightstone up. Remember also that they've got the Storm Spirit on their team, so those Nyx bombs are definitely going to be real in this match.
Yeah, and especially once T1E gets a couple... Here comes the tower going down. There is an attempted push from Azwraith from the top, but T1E will just TP in, clear out the wave. And there are 4 meme heroes down in the bot lane just to make sure that they get the tower for sure. And now they can potentially rotate. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting that even with the relatively free start that Razor had in the game, he's still only at just a Sange and getting closer to the Yasha and just phase boots. I mean, you would kind of expect more out of the Razor that didn't really have a whole lot going on in his lane.
Yeah, I think once the Oracle had to start rotating to help out mid, the Darkseer was able to pressure him a little bit more. He is significantly behind as far as CS compared to the Lifestealer, and he has had those 2 deaths. Whereas you compare that to Zingle, he's 4-0-2.
Right.
Now there is a full rotation. Smoke down. She's going to try and pop an arrow here. They break the smoke. Is there any vision on the Radiant at all? It doesn't look like it. They drop a sentry now. Maybe a little too late. Azwraith pops the plasma field to dissuade them. Fortune's End comes out, connects on 2. A roar is available, but he won't toss it just yet. Oh, Static Storm though connects onto Peace. He's kind of out a bit of long jump in from T1E. A nice vacuum back as well. And they get the double Starstorm on a couple. It will be Peace with the Fortunes, or the False Promise, not saving his life. And now ZPP, he can get out, but Sladden may not be so lucky. No tether online, and this is going to be a clean kill. 3 for 0.
He had that Primal Roar available, and the usage of that probably would have turned the fight around quite a bit, but him going down along with the arrow from...
of that Orchid. So this will be another tower. Zingle immediately heading back to defend mid. And he will be able to secure it. ZPP just cannot push buildings fast enough. Now G could be in trouble here. Has to leap away. Will go for it. ZPP, how far does he commit for this? He's looking for it, but the glimpse back is there. Actually, nice. He may actually get... No, never mind. I don't know what I thought was going to happen there.
Yeah, when the Echo Saber hits onto the Remnant, remember that it takes a bit of, or a percentage of Ember Spirit speed. So,
right.
So it's actually really slow as soon as he gets hit by the Echo Saber. A bit of a bad timing to try to send that out.
Now zip forward from T1E. Will scout out Peace, who's got the IO backup, but they maybe still look for this. Sladden. He is level 8.5. Desolator fully completed on Zingle, and the long jump. They get the jump out, and PKO will be dead. He does pop the False Promise, but this will not save his life. And they just let him fall. Cool guys don't look at explosions.
I wonder if it's possible to make a false promise to yourself, because like, wouldn't you know that it's wrong?
People tell themselves lies all the time. And ZPP may be telling himself he can win this game for his team, but that might just be a lie here. No, he does get away.
That might still be a lie.
Maybe. And Zingle looking to push in with that level 4 Ion Shell on, as well as the early Deso Armlet. I mean, they can take towers very quickly. And I really don't feel like Team Gorilla can afford to defend their tier 2s at this point.
Yeah, with the Desolator on Zingle, it's going to be very easy and quick for memers to take
on him. Very far away from that even level 1 Necro book, but same time, top lane. Okay, Zingle cleans up the Ember Spirit, or the Io rather. That's a very different kill. Now we're going to look to push out this lane, and ZPP will get away now with the Yasha completed. So he is going for an early build, but I don't think that's because he wants to face rush. I feel like that's just because he knows that if he doesn't, they're going to lose before he can get anything bigger.
Yeah. To try to get any kind of advantage for his team, and they call it.
Okay, well, that was easy.
Okay.
As, with the forfeited game, guys, that will be Meme taking the series 2-0. And a little bit unfortunate, a bit anticlimactic, given how long we waited for that series, but it will be Meme going on.
They were currently playing in another tournament before this one, and they did end up taking the win 3-0, so congrats to them for that. But it is really difficult to be able to stay focused for that long, and in this type of game, it's a little bit difficult to really play against this kind of thing. So it makes sense that they would just throw in the towel. They already had their big win tonight, so I guess they're going to celebrate that and just go on to other things.
Fair enough. Well, guys, that's all from us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. I'm Sindar, that's Pythian. Twitter handles are on the top right of the screen if you want to give us a follow. And we'll see you for the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and have a good night.